Hi everyone, and welcome to Rankin vlog number 13, Unlucky 13. In this one, I will be discussing The Stingiest Man in Town. This was made in 1978, and it's a Christmas Carol adaptation. Okay, now, you all know the story. You've all either read it, or you've probably watched at least one or two adaptations. But you know what? In the spirit of giving, and in the spirit of this joyous Christmas season, I'll be nice. So, Ebenezer Scrooge is a rich miser who hates Christmas. Calls it a humbug. He mistreats his employee, Bob Cratchit, and his nephew, Fred. And one night, he goes home, he's haunted by his deceased partner, Jacob Marley, and told him if he doesn't change, he's doomed for damnation. So he is warned that he is going to be visited by three spirits, by three ghosts, the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. And then in the end, he finds out the meaning of Christmas, and he changes. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about the story. Again, you all know it, and I'll be honest, it's clunky. It's very clunky. It's all thrown. This is a story that needs a certain amount of time to be told in its entirety. You cannot tell the story in like 25 minutes, a half hour. This special needed to be at least an hour if you wanted to get the whole thing in. It's just they do skip parts. Like, one thing is, in the beginning, it's a small one, but at the counting house, in the beginning of the story, two people who work for, like, charities come by and ask Scrooge for money, and he gives it, are there no prisons? And there are plenty of prisons. Go, what about the workhouses? Going, many would rather die. He goes, well, if they're gonna die, they might as well decrease the surplus population. And that's not even mentioned in there. And also, a lot of Scrooge's past we didn't see. Like, in a lot of adaptations, we see when he's a boy, and in school, abandoned by his father, but then he's brought home by his sister. That's not in there. It just jumps to when he's a young man and with Belle. Let's see what else. The one that really gets me is when they go to whatchamacallit, when the Ghost of Christmas Future comes and they show the people stealing Scrooge's stuff. That's only shown for like that. It's only shown for like a split second. And then it goes to the grave. And they don't show Tiny Tim dying. Like, they casually mention, like, what's going to happen to him, if things aren't changed, the child is going to die, blah, blah, blah. But they don't show it. Like I said, there's like 637 adaptations of this. I think the one that does this perfectly is the Robert Zemeckis version, in which after Tiny Tim dies in the future, the Ghost of Christmas Future takes Scrooge to Cratchit's house. And Bob Cratchit's putting on a brave face, but then, this is after, in the future, Tiny Tim dies. You can tell he's in so much pain. And Cratchit, knowing that Scrooge isn't there, has to sit there, can't look away, and see all the pain and grief that he is going through, and that is perfect. That doesn't show that in here. Um, yeah, the story is kind of choppy, and they kind of, again, it's a half hour. There's only so much you can do, but this is a story that, again, needs at least an hour to be told. The acting, I think, is okay. Can be wooden at times, but Walter, let me try to get his name, Walter Matthau, who plays Scrooge. He's the traditional grumbly Scrooge, the curmudgeon. Tom Bosley is the narrator as Bah Humbug. No, that's his real name, Bah Humbug. And he's a lot of fun. He's actually probably the best part of the special. He's a lot of fun. The rest are just a bunch of, typical Rankin Bass veterans. Dennis Day, Paul Frees. The animation is, there's scenes when they show the Cratchit kids, and God, does it look creepy. It's just like these blank stares on their face. Like, it's creepy. The imagery, the creepy imagery is pretty cool. Like, they show when we first meet Jacob Marley, you see he do you believe me now? And he shows a head and just screaming at him. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's kind of creepy. And at the at the grave of Ebenezer Scrooge, you have the devil's head pop out, which I thought was, whoa, okay, that's a little nicely creepy. What's another? Okay, music is a part of imagery, and I'll tell you this, the songs, they're just not that memorable. Like, maybe there was one or two I was kind of humming, but it's, the songs, there's just so many of them, and none of them I was really too thrilled with. Like, again, maybe one or two I was kind of humming, but the songs are just forgettable. And I think the thing is, again, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of Christmas Carol adaptations. And, I've never heard any generation saying they grew up on this adaptation. Because I think every generation has a Christmas Carol adaptation that they grew up with. My parents was the Mr. Magoo. My generation was the Muppet version, which is a personal favorite of mine, by the way. Some of, some people who are a little older than me, and, even myself, they grew up on the Mickey Mouse version. The generation sort of after me, like Gen Z or Gen Y, whatever it's called, they probably grew up with the Robert Zemeckis version. So every generation has a different adaptation they grew up on. And I never heard anybody say, what Christmas Carol adaptation is pretty good? The Rankin Bass. This one is again, it's clunky. It's kind of, like I said, I love A Christmas Carol, but this is I would say this is probably one of the weaker adaptations I've watched of this movie, of this story. Like I said, I've seen a bunch of adaptations. I actually read the book when I was in, I think 7th grade. When I was in middle school, I read the book. But I wouldn't put this on my list. If you're a Christmas Carol fan and you're just morbidly curious, I would say it's worth a viewing. But if you are really a huge Christmas Carol fan, there's like hundreds of better adaptations out there than this. So I'm giving Stingiest Man in Town a D. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed. Instead of asking if you saw Stingiest Man in Town, I'm going to ask, what's your favorite Christmas Carol adaptation? Like I said, mine's the Muppet version. Don't judge. You know, everybody has their favorite version. It could be the Alistair Sim version. It could be, again, the Muppet. It could be Mickey Mouse. It could be the Robert Zemeckis version. It could be the George C. Scott. There's hundreds of adaptations out there. Tell me which one's your favorite. I'm really curious to know. And like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, and tell me your thoughts down below. Alright guys, take care. Bye-bye.